All right. Hey, everybody. Episode 7, Dumpling Week in Portland. Whitney and I heard about Dumpling Week from somebody when we were getting ice cream in Nashville.
I was wondering if you would remember that.
It was Jenny's Ice Cream.
Yep.
We were at Jenny's Ice Cream, and
After having gone to Five Daughters.
after having gone to Five Daughters, after having gone to Dreamburger.
I
was wondering if you were going to come up with it quick enough without just having 30 seconds of dead air. Went to Dreamburger, went to Five Daughters, went to Jenny's, ran into some random person that we were talking to that was there getting ice cream.
From Oregon, right?
I think so. And then the topic came up that she had mentioned Dumpling Week, and I think she had gone the year before. So she went in 2024 and told us about it. And we were like, oh, that sounds amazing. We'll have to see if we can make it to that. And we made it.
She also told us about the Dahlia Festival, and I still need to look up the Dahlia Festival and see when and where that is.
She did tell us about the Dahlia Festival. The only thing I committed to memory was Dumpling Week. So we're going to start off. We already drove there. We're already in Portland. We already spent the night. We woke up the next morning, and we went to Willamette Park for a walk on the Willamette Greenway Trail while we drank coffee and did a short 2-mile walk. That was the one that we went to. What?
I was going to say, I literally don't remember Oh, it's coming back to me. I didn't take any pictures.
I didn't take any pictures of that park either. That was the first park that we went to. The next 2 times we went to the park, we went to the other park. But this one was the park that we went to. What was it?
And we paid to park.
Oh, that's where we met Mr. Bob Button.
Was that his name? I never even asked his name.
Yeah, that's where we met Mr. Bob and his dog, Mr. Button.
Was that the walk when we saw 3 or 4 bald eagles? Or was that the next walk?
No, that was the walk when we saw a bald eagle on the way, and then we saw 3 or 4 more when we were at the park.
So that was the one that we didn't cross the river.
Correct.
We stayed on the west side of the Willamette River.
We walked south because the river was on our right on the way out, and then on the way back it was on our left.
No, I was going to say the opposite.
Okay, then it might be the opposite. I don't know.
I think we...
What?
I don't remember.
Okay, it doesn't matter.
Either way, it was a nice walk on a paved greenway. That was busy. That one was busy.
Yeah, it was busy.
There were lots of, I don't remember what day of the week this was.
It was busy.
Friday or Saturday, and it was busy with walkers, people with dogs.
A lot of dogs.
Bicyclists.
Yeah.
A couple of bicyclists.
Yeah, but it was mostly people with their dogs and walking.
And there were some separated areas for bicyclists.
Yes.
So there weren't bikes the whole time that we were walking.
No, but I don't know if I would tell anybody. Like, we're going to get to the next park that we went to, and I would tell everybody to go to the other park that we went to because the parking's free and the greenway there is nice. I felt like the other one we went to was busier with bicyclists because everybody had one trail to share. But also the other one we went to was an off-leash dog area, and it was absolute chaos.
Yeah, and the one that we went to this first day, did you say the name of the park?
Yeah, it was Willamette Park. Well, and the Willamette Greenway Trail.
The walk there was actually along the river. The
Yes.
second walk that we did, we didn't really have views of the river, which I always enjoy seeing the water.
Yeah, so I guess go to Willamette Park if you want to walk along the river. You'll have to pay to park there. I don't remember how much it was to park, but it wasn't much. It wasn't astronomical.
I think it was like $1 an hour, which isn't bad. And I don't think it started until either 8 or 9 in the morning. I don't remember
9.
which time.
9 sounds right.
Because I feel like we maybe got there at like 8, and I was like, oh, I'll just pay for like 30 minutes so that we have an hour and a half or something like that.
Yeah, and I feel like an hour is more than enough. A lot of people aren't going to go and walk for more than an hour. I mean, if you walk at a half decent pace, if you walk for an hour, you just walked 3 miles. I feel like that's a pretty decent clip for a lot of people, and a lot of people aren't going out with the intention of walking 3 miles first thing in the morning. What, her? Now she wants to go outside?
I think she might.
You want to take her outside?
Yeah, I don't want her to sit there and stare at me the whole time.
All right, fine. All right, now thanks to the magic of recording devices, the puppy has been allowed to go outside to pee-pee. Whitney has been allowed to take a break, and we're back in our chairs, and y'all didn't even know the difference. So we just left Willamette Park and decided that we wanted to, I think we were headed to go for another walk, and on the way we decided that Twisted Patisserie was on the way. So we stopped at Twisted Patisserie, which is I want to say a croissant specialty shop,
A
and
laminated dough.
laminated dough, and they specialize in the cruffin. The cruffin is what started their endeavor into Twisted Patisserie.
Yeah, when I went in there to order, I was asking what I should get, and the woman was like, "The cruffin is what started us."
So we got a rose and raspberry cruffin, which by the time this podcast comes out, I will have released a short on YouTube and Instagram of me doing a short 30-second first impression of the rose and raspberry cruffin. So go and watch that if you want to see me embarrass myself. It's worth it because,
You
spoiler alert,
you got frosting up your nose,
I got frosting up my nose. So
but you ate it how she said. She said just bite it like an ice cream
she
cone,
said dive right in. So I dove right in. We got that. We got a chocolate croissant, and we got a Marcona almond croissant.
which was my favorite.
Was it really?
Yeah.
The Marcona almond croissant was your favorite, and I didn't think much of it at all.
Oh, I thought it was so good, but you liked the chocolate croissant a lot more than me.
I thought the chocolate croissant was the best chocolate croissant I'd ever had.
I think the chocolate croissant I would have enjoyed more if we had heated it up some, because that chocolate filling that they put in, it was had been sitting in the van and the van was cold, so it was just a little bit firmer than what I like.
I liked it. I liked that it was a little bit firmer, but I like eating just a bar of chocolate, so that didn't bother me.
And
The the cruffin was delicious, and it
the
was pretty.
the chocolate croissant is so pretty.
It
That's
was
literally what made me get it, was how pretty it is.
Yeah, it was really pretty. I was happy with everything. I wouldn't have to get the Marcona almond croissant again, which came recommended by the employee, and you enjoyed so much.
And that means more for me.
You could get that one and just have it yourself. I would get a chocolate croissant and refrigerate it and have that by myself. I would have eaten another cruffin for sure. I thought the cruffin was
You
delicious.
weirdo, refrigerating your croissant.
So
Yeah, the cruffin was really good too.
I don't know. Twisted was really good. If we go back to Portland again while we're here, I would not hesitate to go back to Twisted. You want to say anything else about Twisted?
They are on the pricey side, so be prepared.
Yeah, they're on the pricey side, but I feel like that's the case for everything we talk about in this episode. If we're in Portland, just assume it's pricey.
That's
Everything
true.
was expensive. We went for dumpling week, and I don't even want to say how much we spent on dumplings. It's ridiculous. Yeah. So we left there and decided to go to Crystal Springs Rhododendron Garden.
God, this all is all in one day. It's crazy.
It's a long day.
I'm looking at my pictures and I'm like, wait, my next picture after those baked goods is a video of a Nutra.
It's a big day.
Nutra-Rat?
Nutria? Nutria rat?
A video of a nutria that we thought was a beaver.
Yeah, but I think everybody in Louisiana calls them nutria-rats. So we saw what we thought was a beaver, and then we saw one swimming and saw its little rat tail sticking out the back of it, and decided, and Whitney seeked it. And so Seek is her identification app for animals and plants. And it said it was a nutria-rat. So we were like, oh, it's not a beaver, it's a nutria-rat. So we did a mile and a half there, but it was like 2 or 3 circles and zigzags through there. It was not a big park at all. It was pretty. Nothing was blooming. It was cold. It wasn't cold. It was not a blue sky, bluebird day.
No.
But it was still nice to go over there.
It'd be nice to go back during bloom time.
It would be nice to go back during bloom. You do have to pay to get in. Was it $12 per person or $9 per person?
9 seems like it might be accurate.
So about $20 for 2 people. It would be worth it if it was blooming. I would also say for the day, I think it was worth it. It was better, especially having the dog. It's dog friendly, so it's better than us trying to walk around Portland, because the dog just doesn't do well on sidewalks in big metro areas.
There's too many things going on. She's overstimulated.
And then there's like stuff on the ground that we don't want her to eat in big towns. So it was nice to go over there. $20 is plenty for us to go over there and have something to do for, I don't know, we were there for an hour, hour and a half, solid hour and a half for a mile and a half walk, enjoying the thousands of geese that were on.
Oh yeah.
You remember all the geese that were on
It's next to a golf course, and I want to say herds just because it's more fun and that's what popped into my head
It was a
first. But
whole herd of
is
geese.
it flock or geese and
A
flocks?
flock of geese? I'm not sure. There's probably another term for whatever it is because everything has to have its own term.
Mr. Jerry, what is a group of geese called?
Yeah. So there was, and it was Canada geese close to us, and then it was the squeaky geese.
I don't know. I don't know what my phone was doing. I used
Didn't it say squeaky
it said
geese?
cackling geese, but I don't know
Cackling
if they were
geese.
just if that's like the noise that it's calling it. What's that? Merlin's bird ID,
They
and
were
it's
definitely different geese. They weren't
they
Canada
looked
geese.
different, but
They
I don't
did.
know. I think I googled, and I don't think cackling geese came up as a type of goose.
A viable type of bird. So we did that. We enjoyed that. There were a lot of animals. Whitney and I like it whenever we can go someplace and watch animals. It was really cold, so it would have been nicer if it was like 5 or 10 degrees warmer, or if the sun was out to be
Sun
able.
makes all the difference.
Yeah, if the sun was out, it would have felt amazing, but it was still a pretty day. But I
It
would have.
it
What?
does come up as a type of goose.
What, a cackling goose? Yeah,
Yeah,
but that looks like another Canada goose.
it's got a smaller head and a smaller neck.
All right. Well,
Anyways, that's not the purpose of this.
we did that. We enjoyed the park. I would go back.
Smaller than most Canada geese.
Well, I don't know if I would go back to if it was blooming. I would go back
If it
if
was
the
blooming.
rhododendron garden was blooming. Otherwise, we discovered other places
Oh
that
yeah, that's
were
true.
really good for walking that were free. No,
And and I think there might be another that's been flying around above you and driving me nuts. I think there's another botanical garden in maybe that's what maybe I was thinking of Hoyt Arboretum.
yeah, but it might not be dog friendly.
No, Hoyt Arboretum we walked around.
Okay. Yeah, we
Um
did.
so that's what I was thinking of, and
That was
it's
the other park that we went to that
yeah,
I'll remember the name. I'll know the name when I get to it in my notes, but I can't tell you what the name of the park is right now without
Washington Park.
sifting through Washington Park, which we really liked.
Yeah, we really enjoyed that.
I would go back to Washington Park and pay to park at Washington Park this time of year rather than going to the rhododendron garden.
Plus, there were three free areas to park in Washington Park too, if you
Were
wanted
there?
to.
Oh
The
yeah,
cars
like the
along the
sides of the
streets.
road and
Yeah,
everything else. Yeah, so if you know where to park in Washington Park's a nice place to go because there are tons of trails
yeah.
and it's so pretty. There were so many um ferns
Mm-hmm.
and just green stuff all over the
All
place.
sorts of
But we
different
found all sorts
trees.
of green stuff. The other trail that we went to, which again I can't remember the name. I'll get to
Forest
it.
Park.
Was it Forest Park?
I think so.
It was really pretty. I'd go back to both of those places, and the parking at Forest Park where we parked was free also, but it was limited. It
Mm-hmm.
was a small parking lot, but it was really pretty. Um, so there are plenty of places to go in the Portland area. If you're going and traveling to Portland, then I imagine you're not afraid to drive a little bit to go to places.
Unless you flew in and
Unless you flew in and you don't have a car, or you're trying not to have a car and you're just trying to stick to the Portland area,
but
then
I
I
feel
guess
like
the rhododendron garden would be good if you just wanted to Uber over
well, I
there.
feel like the public transit went over towards the parks too.
I don't know.
We
I
saw
don't.
buses everywhere
I'm
and
not
bus
sure.
stops, it seems like.
But we finished at the rhododendron garden, and this starts Dumpling Week.
That's all I got. I didn't take any more pictures that day.
Really? I've got all
Apparently,
the
you
pictures.
took all the pictures of
I
the
have
dumplings
all
that
the
day.
pictures. So we left the rhododendron garden and headed into town because businesses were starting to open and it was the middle of the day and it was an acceptable time to start eating dumplings. So we weren't supposed to get dumplings. We were supposed to meet Colin and Carrie because the weather was going to be nasty and we were going to meet them at a brewery, and then it ended up being half decent, so we parked near the brewery and then walked to Loyal Legion because the weather looked half decent and we had plenty of time to kill. So we went to Loyal Legion and we got this is the description, it's a warm creamy base of tender chicken with sweet carrots, peas, and onions in a rich, thyme infused sauce topped with soft, pillowy dumplings.
Is
And
that their description off their website?
yes, that is off of the Dumpling Week website.
Okay.
And I would describe it as I described it to other people
As a
at
deconstructed chicken pot pie.
minus the pastry.
Well, that's deconstructed.
Well, I guess, yeah, but there was no pastry element. You just had
That's what
dumplings.
that's what the Oh, just kidding. I was about to say something stupid.
And I loved it. I thought it was really good. It was one of my favorites. I think at the end we can try to say what our top 3 or top 5 were. It would be hard for me to put this one in my top 3, but it was just so good. It tasted so homely.
People are like, how many dumplings did y'all get
A lot.
if y'all have a top 3 or top 5?
A lot. So this one tasted the most homemade.
Yeah.
Out of everything we had, this was the one that if I went to somebody's house, this is what I'd expect, like a deconstructed chicken pot pie with dumplings to taste like.
Yeah.
It was
sure.
so good. So good. Loved it. We also got a couple of beers there. Loyal Legion has an excellent beer draft list. I gave Loyal Legion a 9 out of 10. Whitney gave it a 7.5 out of 10. I enjoyed it. We didn't go back.
Only one place
we
can
only
claim that
repeated
title.
one place. But I liked Loyal Legion. If we go back to Portland and we just need a place to go hang out, I would go back to Loyal Legion to at least get a beer. And based off how good that was, I would try more of their food.
And Loyal Legion was it a tap house and brewery?
No, it was just a tap house.
They didn't brew their own. I thought I saw a couple of things. Okay,
I could be wrong.
So it was a tap house, so they had a good variety,
and they let us come in with Sandy.
Don't know if they were supposed to, but they did.
So if this is health and safety listening, this is our daughter. This is not at all a 12-pound dog that we're talking about, but they let us bring her in, so that was absolutely amazing. I'll give business to people that let us come in with the dog, obviously, because I say that every episode when somebody lets us come in with her. So we finished at Loyal Legion. We got the dump. We shared. So pretty everywhere we went, we shared dumplings. I don't want people thinking that we got multiple orders of dumplings everywhere we went. We got one order of the dumpling week dumplings everywhere we went, and we shared them. So we did that. We each got one beer, and then we went to Kachka for the next dumplings, which they were a fried potato-filled dumpling dusted with smoked paprika seasoning and drizzled with a garlic aioli. And what they failed to mention is that I don't even think ours, it did have a garlic aioli. I'm looking at the picture. What they failed to mention is the red sauce that it came with, and I thought the red sauce was better than the dumplings.
No, the dumplings were better.
You liked the dumplings way more than me. We got the Kachka dumplings and then ended up going over to, I don't even know if I didn't even take a note of which, Fracture Brewing. We went and met Colin and Carrie and Barley at Fracture Brewing. We went over there. We each drank a beer while we ate our dumplings and waited for Colin, Carrie, and Barley to show up. And Whitney enjoyed the dumplings more than me. I wasn't too impressed with them. I thought the little red sauce that came with them was really good, but I didn't have to have the dumplings.
I enjoyed them.
I think I gave them a 6 out of 10 and you gave them a 7.5. So you say you liked them. You didn't seem that impressed with Loyal Legion. You gave Kachka and Loyal Legion the same rating. Which one you seem way more excited about, and I feel like you didn't have anything to say about Loyal Legion whenever we got Loyal Legion.
Well, the ones from Kachka leaned towards the almost Swedish side. Sweet-ish, not Swedish.
Swedish fish.
No, gross.
So we did that. Fracture was nice. I liked Fracture.
Mm-hmm. Their beer was good.
Fracture had more guest taps than they had their own taps. I think they only had 3 of their own beers on. They had a West Coast, which I drank, which I thought was really good. They had a hazy, which Carrie got. Did you get the hazy?
I think I got a hazy too.
I think I tasted it. I just haven't been in a hazy mood. It was good. And I don't remember what else they had from them.
But I get a guest?
You got the Czech, or no, you got the Schwarzbier.
I thought it was it not a Czech dark? No,
was it a Czech dark lager?
I think it was a Czech dark.
I don't, potato.
It wasn't from them though.
Czech dark. No, it was not. It was from somebody else.
Gotcha.
But you got the Czech dark lager to start with, and it was really good. That was the best. You also got a Czech dark lager at Wayfinder,
and it wasn't as good.
And it was nowhere near as good as the one that you got from
Fracture.
from Fracture, and I wish I could remember who you got the one from Fracture from, because you refused to use Untapped, so you can't go back and look.
Yeah, I'm lazy.
It would be nice to know. Then we left there and we were going to our next dumpling place on the way to Wayfinder with Colin and Carrie, and Whitney and I got distracted because we were walking over there from our parking spot by Fracture, and we walked past Sweet and Salty Cookies, which we saw driving to Fracture originally, and decided to stop in because they were open and because they have
They're
a high
cookies.
rating, and it's
I don't.
cookies.
I don't know if we ever even looked at the rating. I meant to look them up and then forgot.
I thought you did look them up and said they had a high rating. So we went to Sweet and Salty Cookies. I got no pictures. The cookies got one of the cookies got destroyed before I even got my hands on it
Oh, they're 5.
because everybody was drunk at that point
We were
and
not drunk.
absolutely obliterated and tearing into
Oh my
cookies.
goodness.
We had a chocolate caramel that Whitney had intended to get for herself, and that's what got torn into at the brewery that I got one bite of, and I wasn't blown away by it. I thought it was okay. I only got one bite, so it's not that fair for me to say what I thought of it. I thought it had an almost artificial caramel flavor from the chips, and I didn't necessarily get a ton of chocolate off of it, but it was one small bite was all I got. And you don't remember because you were drunk.
So drunk.
Well, my notes say you were drunk, so you must have been drunk.
Do they really?
I
Did you
also,
really write that?
yeah, we also got a salted chocolate chip. I said the salted chocolate chip was really good. The salted chocolate chip is what you and I were eating at Wayfinder and almost got kicked out, but we also almost got kicked out for eating dumplings.
You're not supposed to bring in outside food at Wayfinder.
Wayfinder has their own food. We were
It's
sitting
against health
outside
code.
next to their pitiful little heater, so we couldn't even get a consolation prize of being allowed to eat our dumplings for dumpling week.
The chocolate chip cookie tasted like Toll House cookie dough.
And it was amazing. I thought it was
It
fantastic.
would have been better heated up. I should have stuck it up by the heater.
It might have been better heated up. I liked it. I had no problem with it. I thought the salted chocolate chip was very good. Reminiscent of a Toll House cookie dough flavor and sweetness. And then my favorite was the chocolate peanut butter with Reese's Pieces, which is the one that I'd gotten intending to get for myself.
I think I have a picture of that. Maybe?
You might. I don't. I didn't get any pictures of the cookies.
I lie, no picture.
The cookie was rich and decadent with a fudgy cookie and a delicious Reese's Pieces. I thought it was really good. I would get it again. I'd go back to Sweet and Salty Cookies before I would go back to, was it Nate's oatmeal cookies that we went to?
Yeah, I wouldn't go back there.
We'll get to Nate's. I would go back to Sweet and Salty before I would go back to Nate's for sure. Not that there was anything wrong with Nate's. We'll talk about it more whenever we make it there. But Sweet and Salty was really good. If you need a cookie in Portland, Sweet and Salty will.
If you just need a cookie.
If you just need a cookie, if you're like Whitney and I and you're walking down the street and
you see a cookie place, stop and get a cookie.
You got a hankering for a cookie, it's worth stopping in. So on the way from Sweet and Salty to Wayfinder, Whitney went to Wayfinder with the dog to meet Colin and Carrie, and I broke off on the way and stopped just short in order to pick up our 2 orders of dumplings from Produce Row Cafe. It was 2 orders of dumplings. It was 1 order for Whitney and I and 1 order for Colin and Carrie. And Produce Row's was a ground beef, ginger, garlic, and scallion with fresh mint, mushroom, and shaved broccoli. I'm not sure if that's accurate. I don't know if that's what they actually had or not. What's the matter? Do we need to go outside?
Yeah.
We're pausing again. All right, back from another break. We're going to see how many times the dog can make us pause tonight. So, where was I? Produce Row, dumplings. I'm not sure if the dumplings that I just read are an accurate description of whether or not that's what we actually got. I said they were more of a traditional, what you would expect, steamed pot sticker type dumpling from where you would get at a Chinese restaurant. So we did that.
What even was Produce Row?
It was a restaurant. What do you
Was it?
mean?
I don't know. It sound Produce Row makes it sound like a like grocery store or something, and I didn't go in, so I was wondering if it was like a
It was just a small restaurant.
okay.
Um, yeah, really small, decent little place. A lot of the stuff on their menu is expensive, but again, we're in Portland, so everything's expensive. Just take what you normally think something should cost and multiply it by like 1.5, and then I'll give you a baseline for how much everything costs in Portland. I gave it an 8.5, and according to my notes, Whitney was drunk and useless at this point. We almost got kicked out of Wayfinder for eating cookies and dumplings. Um, I don't think you had much to say about the produce row dumplings.
I think I shoveled them into my mouth so fast so that we wouldn't get in trouble that I don't really remember what they tasted
And
like.
then we still got in trouble. I gave them an 8.5, so obviously I thought something of them. I thought they were pretty good. Um, but I mean, besides that, that was the end of that day. We don't normally explicitly say where we stay on a lot of these trips because we're filthy van people and we don't necessarily want to say where we park our filthy van on a lot of these trips unless we have a place that we're technically supposed to park, and we parked at a Boondockers
Yeah, this
Welcome
was our
this
first.
time.
This was our first Boondockers welcome stay,
It
or
was
yeah, stay.
and it was good. It started off kind of wonky because they have limited numbers of nights that you're technically supposed to be able to stay at somebody's Boondockers Welcome, and the woman let us stay at her house the whole time we were in Portland, which made our trip so much easier.
Yeah, we were originally trying to do two different stays, but the first one denied our stay for some reason, and then the woman that we were supposed to stay at second let us stay the whole time, so that was nice,
And her
and it
neighbor,
worked. And it worked out well. And her, she was in a nice neighborhood.
she was in a beautiful neighborhood. Dog, are you just going to be nothing but drama tonight?
Home here.
100% drama for absolutely no reason. So we stayed at her house. It was on the south side of Portland, but it was close to the parks that we were going to. And it was a nice place to be able to go to get out of the city to park at night in a really nice neighborhood,
Yeah, it was in Lake Oswego, so it was like a 20-minute drive to get into Portland.
which wasn't bad. We always
No,
broke it up. So it never felt like we were taking a super long time to get to wherever we were trying to go to. And I never felt, even when it came around to Monday, when we got stuck in traffic, I never felt like the traffic was all that bad.
I'm trying to remember getting stuck in traffic.
Monday was the day that we left her neighborhood and went out, and I couldn't make
Oh,
the
couldn't make the
left to
left.
get out, so I had to make the right and go up the road and go into the parking lot, turn around to go back out to the light so that I could make the left because the traffic was so bad. So the next morning, we left her house and we went to Selwood Riverfront Park for coffee and a nice little 2 mile walk with the dog.
And
As nice as a 2 mile walk can be with the dog.
this was the park that was at the dog park with free parking. You
Yeah,
couldn't see the river as well from this walk, but it was still a nice walk. And
the park was South Selwood Riverfront Park, but the greenway was Springwater on the Willamette Greenway Trail.
this was on the east side of the river.
Yes, this was on the east side of the river. It was it wasn't a great park for us because Sandy doesn't do well with other dogs. So we had to make sure that we had her on a close leash or we had her picked up while we were in the park itself and keeping an eye on her because other dogs were running loose.
Even in the parking lot, which was wild to me. Like people just let their dogs out of their car in the parking lot with people ripping through the parking lot, and it made me nervous.
Yeah, so this is one of those parks when you go to this park, people just, I don't, heart, almost no one had their dogs on a leash at all.
No, which is fine, whatever. It's just,
I mean, it's an off leash
yeah,
park.
it was just wild to me that people. I would have at least like put them on a leash or help like led them by their collar out of the parking lot.
No, they were just letting them rip through the parking lot. So we did that. It was nice. It was cold. That was one of those mornings. We thought we wanted to go for a run, but it was too cold. We had other stuff we wanted to do. So we did that. Um, Left there and decided that on the way to what were we? Oh, we were going to do a trail walk on the west side of the river in Portland. And on the way, we made a stop at Grand Central Bakery because I was in a biscuit mood and Whitney kind of wanted a breakfast sandwich. And it's a bakery and it had good ratings. So we figured why not? So we stopped and got a sausage biscuit with Gouda and a tomato relish on a house-made biscuit, which I wouldn't have to get again.
Mm-mm.
Everything we got from here was only okay. The only thing I would go back for is the ginger molasses cookie, but again, there's a pattern here. I like ginger molasses cookies. We also got what they call a raspberry jammer. I guess they have jammer biscuits, and
Mm.
it's just a biscuit with jam on top. The biscuits just weren't that impressive. They were dry. I think they would be good if they were fresh, but I also think their biscuits either need a touch more salt or they need some like salted butter.
They also didn't put enough, they didn't spread the raspberry jam on the biscuit. So it was like, it's almost like Danish like, where it was just like
It was just centralized.
localized in the center.
And
And
it was a big biscuit. So whenever you took a bite, like you really had to get into the center to get any of the jam. So I don't know. I think it was really popular. A lot of people really like Grand Central Bakery. So if you ever go to Portland, Oregon, and you ask for recommendations from people, or if you look on Google and you just do a generic search for the best bakeries, then I'm fairly certain Grand Central Bakery will come up. They have a lot of bread.
oh, I was going to say they also have a lot of locations. So
They have a
that,
lot of locations. They do a lot of bread. They do a lot of baked goods. There's a lot of stuff there. So to be fair, your mileage may vary. You may go and think that it's absolutely amazing. Neither one of us were too blown away. I thought the ginger molasses cookie was fantastic. Slightly dry edges, which I really like in a ginger molasses cookie, but then it had a very moist center. All of the cookie had a very good chew, um, good ginger flavor, and a lot of that rich, earthy sweetness that you get from molasses. So I think that was the best thing we got. I would make a stop if we were passing another Grand Central Bakery for the cookie.
I think I liked the cookie. I don't have a picture of it, but I think I said it wasn't my favorite ginger flavor out of all the ginger cookies that we've
That
gotten.
is exactly what you said. You did say that it was not your favorite.
Look at me remembering things even with no pictures.
So we did that, and then we were What are you looking at your picture of donuts?
Uh huh.
Yeah, so we were driving north from there, about to cross the bridge and go west, and we passed a Cocoa Donuts, and Whitney and I did Donut Day in Portland, Oregon in 2022,
Yep.
and went to Cocoa Donuts. And Cocoa Donuts has a special place for us because we walked in and they had just taken donuts out of the fryer and had just dipped them in chocolate, and they were as fresh as they could be. They hadn't even put them in a display case
I'm
yet.
starting to have palpitations just thinking of this donut.
And Whitney, I think that's the only thing we got from Cocoa was one fresh chocolate donut.
And then we turned
And
around and
you've
went straight back in and got another one.
and you've talked about it for years
Literally
since.
2.5 years now.
So we passed it this time and decided to stop in and decided to get a chocolate glazed donut, which
Which
was not fresh,
was not fresh and was not the same.
was not the same. I put a solid donut, like there was nothing wrong with it, but it's just what you would expect out of a yeast raised chocolate glazed donut.
And then is that an old fashioned?
And we also got a glazed old fashioned.
And donut holes.
The glazed old fashioned was the one that you ate. I didn't say anything about, and you were like, "Did you get citrus off that?" It had kind of a citrusy
Mm-hmm.
finish. I didn't say anything because I thought it, and then you said it and brought it up and
But I don't
said
even
it
know
out
if it was,
loud.
I couldn't like place, like maybe it was a little bit of lime or something, like
You
not
said
your
lime, like I just said
traditional,
citrus.
yeah, not your traditional, like, oh, I got a lemon pastry type citrus.
And then we got donut holes because every donut shop we've been going to lately, I've been getting donut holes, and I wasn't blown away by them. They put like a waxy finish in my
I
mouth.
want to do another trip south and go to whatever the random, was it Ukiah that we got the donuts?
Yeah, Sonny's.
Mm, I want them.
Sonny's Donuts was
Okay,
amazing. We'll go to Sonny's Donuts again.
back on track. After our cocoa donuts, that was when we went to Forest Park. Did I get the name right?
I think so. I've got
I'm
the
looking at.
Wildwood Trail to Lower Maclay Trail, but I didn't say what park we were at.
Let me see if my location services says.
So you can see that this was a walk that we went on. We did almost 3 miles. The dog wasn't really feeling it. It was really busy. There were a lot of
She
people
did
out
great.
there.
What are you talking
There were
about?
a lot of trail
I
runners.
thought I was gonna have to, it was a very busy trail. I thought we started off at the top of the trail and we did like a quick, maybe 300 foot of descent straight down into it over what, half a mile, maybe
Yeah.
less than that.
Yeah.
And I
It
thought,
felt like it was going to be.
yeah, going down, it felt like it was going to be a hella rough trip coming up. And then I was like, I'm going to have to carry the dog up this after we've walked 3 miles, and we have to hike up this at the very end.
And then it was fine.
And she trucked up it
We made it up
like
with
a
no issue.
champ.
I think I say the dog wasn't feeling it. We only did 3 miles because the dog had already walked 2 miles that morning.
Yeah.
So we were at 5 miles for the dog, which 5 miles for a 12-year-old dog, I feel is pretty good.
With 2 fake ACLs.
With 2 fake reconstructed ACLs. So 5 miles total for the dog. She's doing better than most humans. So I thought that trail was amazing.
I think it's Forest Park, but it also says Maclay Park.
Forest Park sounds right. So if you look at a map, it's on the west side of Portland. It's on the west side of the river.
And it's a huge area. I
It's
think
a
I looked it up.
gigantic area.
The Wildwood Trail that we walked part of, I think, did I say what, 28 or 29 miles one way?
Yeah, something like that.
28 or 2900 miles one way. And then did I ever end up finishing telling you what the elevation gain was over the entire 28 or 29 miles?
I don't think so.
It was a little over 3,000 feet.
So, well, that's that park. Bird Alliance of Oregon, Adams Community Garden, Trailhead/Forest Park. So yeah, if you're on Google Maps and you search for the Wildwood Trail, it should take you to the trailhead that I found. If you look for Forest Park, then that's also another marker that's right next to it, but it's on Northwest Cornell Road, right next to the Bird Alliance of Oregon. Either way, Witches. If you look for Witches Castle, that was the spray painted, graffitied landmark that was like a mile into the trail.
It's 5,200 acres and one of the largest urban forests in the United States.
It was amazing.
And,
it was so pretty.
And TripAdvisor claims that it's larger than Central Park.
It was really pretty. It was not a paved trail. It was a gravel, dirt, muddy trail.
It was muddy in all the rain.
And even for the time of year, I thought it was beautiful. It was super green. There were so many ferns. There was so much moss. I really enjoyed it. I thought that park was fantastic. Highly recommend it, especially for Portland if you just want to go out and move and just walk around in the woods.
And not feel like you're in the middle of the city.
Yeah, and I think it was like 15 minutes out of town. It wasn't bad at all. Again, if you don't have a car, then maybe you're not going to go over here. But if you have a car, like go do something. Put your feet on the ground and take a few steps.
It was also in the direction of, apparently there's an air tram in Portland.
There is an air tram,
which I didn't look into it too much, but it looked like it ran from like the west side to the east side, which was kind of cool. I kind of want to do it next time we go.
Do you? You didn't show much interest whenever I pointed it out whenever we were there.
Well, I was trying to look it up, but then I was also trying to look around at the things that we were seeing.
So, anything else about Wildwood Trail right there?
Nope.
We did that, and this began Super Bowl Sunday, right?
Well, Super Bowl Sunday had already begun because it was already Sunday.
The Superb Owl had already begun, according to Colin. So we went to Total Wine for a case of wine. Thank you, Aunt T, even though you're not going to listen to this, but we appreciate the gift card for the wine that you bought for us. And then, what was it? Oh, we went to Rio Park. That was the little park on the river that we went to before we went to Colin's because we still had time to kill and you had stuff that you wanted to do on the computer. So we went and parked on the river at Rio Park. I drank a beer. You had a few sips of beer. We sat there for 45 minutes or an hour, maybe a little bit longer. And then from there, we went and picked up pizza and then went to Colin's house.
Because it was National Pizza Day.
It was National Pizza Day. You got a gift card from your... Oh, it's funny. I wonder if National Pizza Day is always on the Super Bowl.
Oh, I didn't look.
I don't know. I guess the Super Bowl could be the biggest day for pizza.
I don't know.
In the year. It would make sense. So we went to Colin's house, ate way too much food. I ate pounds and pounds of food. Colin made ribs. The ribs were really good. I forget Colin's friend's name. He made burger sliders.
They were quite tasty.
They were so good.
They had bacon and
They
cheese.
had bacon and onions and cheese and ground beef in a patty form with Hawaiian rolls with like an everything seasoning on top. They were chef's kiss. They were so good. So we did that, did our Super Bowl thing, watched the Eagles completely dominate. So good for them.
And watched very few good commercials.
I don't know. I was there for the socialization. I wasn't there for the game. I don't know. There were some weird things. I was having more fun watching Colin laugh at the completely unhinged commercials than I was actually paying attention to the commercials or the game itself.
He was enjoying that.
Colin's reactions throughout were definitely worth being there for. So we did that, and I mean, that was the end of that day. We went back and parked at our Boondockers welcome for the night, got up the next morning, and went back to Selwood Riverfront Park for coffee. Except this morning, we decided we were going to give the dog a day off. So the dog stayed in the van, and Whitney and I decided to go the opposite direction on the Greenway Trail than what we had gone the day before, and kicked out a pretty quick 4-mile walk.
Do you remember what we saw on this walk that I took a picture of that would make me smile?
No. I can't. Oh, yeah, the people's yard art. The people's yard art was amazing.
We ended up, so I think this trail, the direction that we walked to this day, I think the trail disappears for a little while and runs through a neighborhood, but then I think it picks up on the other side of the neighborhood, but we didn't follow it that far because we didn't realize that. So we just kind of branched off and walked on different streets in the neighborhood, and we were looking at people's yards and houses and stuff. And there was one house, they're rusty, so what would that make them? What kind of metal? They were some sort of like
I'm not a
metal.
metallurgist.
They were some sort of metal
They were
statues, and it was 3 of them, and they were probably 4 to 5 feet tall.
Yeah.
And one of them's playing
A banjo.
A banjo.
I don't know if that's a
A
traditionally
banjo,
Hispanic
a
instrument.
guitar, and a trombone, maybe.
Trumpet?
Trumpet?
I don't know.
Trumpet sounds more right.
What's the
It's some sort of horn.
what's the group of people that play the music at Mexican restaurants?
A mariachi band.
It was a mariachi band.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess those do look like sombreros.
Thank you.
Oh, and he has a mustache.
Yeah, it's a mariachi band.
Oh, I didn't even realize. They're so cute, though. We'll post a picture.
You're slow. Yeah, on the episode announcement. On the episode announcement, I'll post it. So if you want to see the mariachi band that Whitney didn't figure out was a mariachi band until just now, then go check out either the Audacious Coddiwomplers Instagram, and it'll be on there, or if you're friends with Whitney or I on Facebook, then you'll be able to see the post on Facebook, and they'll be in there. I'll make sure that I get the mariachi band included on that post. So we finished that, went back to the van, collected the dog, collected ourselves, and decided Whitney had donuts picked out that she wanted to go to, Dough Donuts and Ice Cream, which is a vegan donut shop. Mimicking my hand gestures. So we went over there and decided that they had super high ratings. Whitney wanted to try them. I had my doubts about vegan donuts.
A lot of people in Reddit said that they're the best donuts in Portland, even though they're vegan.
Even though they're vegan, this is another one that I will be posting a short video of a quick 30-second first taste reaction of. So
our difference of opinion on this cake
huge.
Donut is wild.
It was
to
gigantic.
Me.
So we got a traditional chocolate glazed donut, which I thought had an interesting texture.
And it had interesting little
Rice Krispie.
Yeah, that's what we said. They were like sprinkles.
Sprinkles.
But they were like Rice Krispie like sprinkles. I enjoyed them because they weren't as hard as a lot of sprinkles are.
I don't like hard sprinkles. I like waxy sprinkles.
So I liked these.
Well, you like Mary Lee sprinkles, and those are hard.
Yeah,
but
they're
round.
Yeah, but they're teeny. They're
suckers,
teeny tiny, so you can just
horrible.
swallow them, and they don't hurt your teeth.
Oh my god. So I said that the chocolate glazed had a slight crisp on the exterior with a light interior and a slight chew, but I didn't feel like it had any kind of body or density to it.
I
So it
thought
was,
it was just a good, fluffy chocolate glazed
I
donut.
wouldn't have to have it again. It was not my favorite texture or flavor for a donut.
And then what did you think about the cake donut?
So we got a coffee dipped old fashioned, and I forget what I said in the video. I think in the video I gave it like an 8.5 or something, and I said crisp exterior with a devastatingly moist interior and a beautiful coffee flavor would get again.
And then I'm eating it and I'm like, this thing is dry as F,
You said crunchy.
crunchy. It was like almost, it didn't taste burnt, but it was like bordering on burnt.
I
It was
guess
so
you just
crunchy.
had such different bites than me because I enjoyed it so much. If you go and watch the video, the reaction video, like the Cruffin video is funny because I get frosting up my nose. This video's funny because I literally like roll my eyes in ecstasy whenever I take the first bite of it, and I'm just like, oh, he's enjoying that donut.
Hashtag would not get again. Hashtag would not recommend.
Yeah, that's just you though. But there was plenty of that going on during this trip. When we went to Voodoo and I got that apple fritter that I fell in love with.
But that was because we decided that's not my style of apple fritter.
It literally is.
Oh, yeah, that one was. It was a different one that wasn't.
So we finished at Dough Donuts. I think overall for Dough Donuts, I would send people to Dough Donuts, but with the acknowledgement that they are vegan, with the knowledge that they are not a perfectly traditional donut, but there's a chance you might really enjoy them.
And they have Rice Krispie sprinkles.
And they have Rice Krispie sprinkles, but at the same time, I don't know what the benefit is of going to Dough Donuts because I really like Voodoo, and I would probably send people to Voodoo before I sent them to Dough. So I don't know. Whatever. Maybe I'm just a heathen.
Spoken like a true Portland tourist.
I am. Oh my god. I mean, you may as well just go to the grocery store to get
Oh my God,
yeast.
stop.
Yeast. You may as well just get your yeast raised donuts from the grocery store because they are literally all the same.
Stop. Let's talk about the monkey puzzle tree.
So we went to Washington Park, which I'm not looking at where Washington Park is. I think it's on the west side across the river also.
It is, but it's farther south of Forest Park. So it's closer to like Portland proper. And it's where the it borders the Oregon Zoo.
It does border the Oregon Zoo and the Japanese Garden,
Yeah.
which is not dog friendly
And is not free to get in.
and is not free to get into.
Even though All Trails acts like you can just walk on the trail and get into the park. Or
yeah, don't try to use the trails to get into the park because you'll get to a gate that's locked and then you have to walk along the gate all the way down the hill and then you get down to the bottom of the hill and then you get to the pay station where all the employees are that are eagerly awaiting you to give them money to get into the Japanese garden, which I'm sure is beautiful.
Yeah, I would do it if we go back, but we
it's
had
not
Sandy.
dog friendly.
We had Sandy, and we had already walked like what 2.5 miles to get there, so we weren't gonna walk back and then drive over to go.
Yeah, I don't know how far we had walked. We did 4 3/4 miles total at Washington Park, so I don't know how far we had walked by the time we got to the Japanese garden. But Washington Park, we did that, and that was essentially all I said was we were on the Wildwood Trail. I know we branched off.
Oh, we were on so many Washington Park has miles and miles of trails.
A lot of trails.
It, like I said, it connects. It's like borders the Oregon Zoo. That's where Hoyt Arboretum is. So we walked on trails through Hoyt Arboretum, and that's where we saw the monkey puzzle tree. There were different trails in
the the Vietnam War Memorial?
Yeah,
also?
There was a Vietnam War Memorial. There were different trails with like that went through different groves of different kinds of trees, like redwood, spruce, all different. It was super nice. It was a really, really enjoyable trail.
And we saw monkey puzzle trees. We saw 3 monkey puzzle trees, and if you don't know, I love monkey puzzle trees. What's the other tree? There's 2 that are very similar. There's the monkey puzzle tree, and there's another one.
I have no clue.
You don't remember what it is?
No.
I thought there was another one that was really similar that we saw in Washington. I don't know.
I don't remember.
It doesn't matter. Monkey puzzle trees are fantastic, and I love them. I think they're so cool. They're so pretty. They grow really well in this area. So there's a farm that we actually drive past whenever we drive along the 101 through Oregon, and I want to go over there, but it's a farm. They just have them, I guess, in like planters.
I think they grow them to like wholesale or distribute them, or you can order them or
So
something.
if we end up in Washington, then we'll have a monkey puzzle tree one day. But we finished at Washington Park, and then it began. Well,
These were delicious.
it partly began. Was this the big day that we
This was the
had?
yeah that we because we
This
only
was
did the
it.
2 days. Yeah,
Okay, so this is it, people. Like, we're in the thick of it now. We're done walking, we're done exercising, we're done doing the boring stuff that no one came here for. This is where the dumplings start. So we left Washington Park and we went to XLB for Birria Bao dumplings. And I don't know.
these were a top dumpling for me.
Yeah,
Did you write a description of them?
I thought I did. Hold on, I'm looking. I
I mean, it's
guess.
a birria bao bun with a consomme.
Oh, you see, what I did was I started going through the other day and I was writing the descriptions down on the side. And then I think you might have gotten home and I got distracted and I never went back through and actually did true notes for the other ones to say what they. Yeah, I did. Yeah. I got it. Okay, we're good. XLB was a birria bao. It was one of our favorites. Plenty of meat on the inside. It was a steamed bao bun. Traditional Oriental bao bun. Tons of tender, flavorful birria meat on the inside. And then the consomme that they served it with was delicious.
I want more.
I gave it a 10 out of 10. You gave it a 9 out of 10.
I want more. Looking at the picture,
So we finished at XLB and drove down and parked on Southwest. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to be able to remember what the name of the street was. But these next few that we went to, we walked to. And we started off at Porque No, which, if you need a solid go-to taco spot in Portland, Oregon, skip almost everything. Just go to Porque No.
yeah, we went when we were there in 2022. 2022,
Yeah.
because that's the only time we've been to Portland besides this.
Is that when we went with Kate?
Yeah, and we were there for dumpling for donut day. So we went and got tacos, and you ate like 8 tacos or something.
At least. That might have been, I might have eaten 8 tacos on my first plate and
I
then went
think you
back and
got
got
4,
more.
and then you went back and got 3 more, and then he gave you a free one.
He did give me a free one. So Porque No was an empanada filled with chorizo, with queso fresco, and a roasted Anaheim and poblano pepper sauce served with a roasted salsa verde and a chili de arbol lime crema.
We did not get, unless it was in it, we did not get a poblano. What did you say?
Chorizo, queso fresco. Oh, I guess the roasted Anaheim and poblano peppers were on the inside.
Okay.
Sorry, I read that wrong the way that I wrote it down. I said it was spicy, crispy, super tasty, absolutely delicious, solid contender for the best one that we had the whole time. I gave it a 10 out of 10. You gave it a 9.5. What? What?
I don't know why I gave it a 9.5. Maybe because I feel like I thought it needed more filling.
I don't know.
Because I
For it
think the
was
birria had way more. The birria buns had way more filling than the
my issue.
empanada.
My issue was bringing price into the consideration, and for $9.50, I didn't feel like it was a $9.50 empanada. It was really good. I'm glad we got it, and I love Porque No, but I feel like they were just taking advantage of Dumpling Week and charging $9.50 for an empanada.
Yeah.
So as much as I love Porque No, it felt kind of like grabby to me. So I don't know. We bought it. I wouldn't tell anybody not to get it, but at the same time, I'm also going to tell you when I think stuff's more expensive than it should be, and I think somebody's just performing a money grab for the sake of performing a money grab. So I don't know. If you can make a few extra bucks and upcharge a few 100% of profit, then go for it, because you got it on us, and I would have gone back and gotten another. We
But
didn't.
I was going to say, but we didn't.
We didn't. I would have if it was cheaper. So maybe if you charged less, you could have made more. But I don't know. I'm not a business owner, so maybe you know more than me. So we left there. and walked over to, we were going to Bamboo House to get more dumplings. So we went over to Bamboo House, ordered the dumplings. She said it was going to be about 15 minutes. So we walked across the street and went to New Seasons Market for the cookie because Whitney had read about how good these cookies are.
And
So
it's literally called the cookie.
it's the cookie. That's why I emphasized it like
well,
that.
Well, people don't know what you're emphasizing.
The cookie. So very chocolatey. I didn't think it had much dough character.
Too chocolatey. It was too much chocolate to dough ratio
there
for me.
was no cookie.
It just tasted like
it was held together with a slight body of dough, but it was chocolate.
And I like the flavor of cookie dough.
And it was still warm whenever we got it. So it was like gooey chocolate. The whole thing was just gooey chocolate just held together with a thin veneer of dough.
Which is kind of wild because it doesn't really look that chocolatey in the picture.
No, it does not. But when you bit into it, it was just chocolate.
Really all you tasted.
I thought it was good, but I'm a sucker for a lot of chocolate right now.
I don't know if I would go back and get another one. I
don't think?
I wouldn't turn my nose up at it. But would I try? There's another market in Portland that's supposed to have good cookies.
I don't know. It was good. I mean, if we were just walking around and we had nothing else to do, and
who am I kidding? I would go get a cookie.
We'd go get another
I'd
cookie.
go get a cookie.
And they keep them warm.
Yeah, that too.
You just want a warm cookie?
I just was so hopeful that it was going to be like my cookie from Washington, and it
from
wasn't.
Spokane.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could remember the name of the grocery store that we got those from, but I can't off the top of my head right now.
I can't either, but that was like still a top.
Oh, it's a top all-time cookie.
Top 10 at the very least.
We had a lot of cookies, so saying top 10 is saying a lot.
Yeah.
So that was good. Bamboo House is the most divisive dumpling that we had the entire time. I think I need to edit my rating because I think I would give it a higher rating than what I have on here. It was very delicately flavored. I thought it was excellent value for money. If you took the cost of all the dumplings and looked at what you got for what you paid, this was the best dumpling by far and away. It was easily a dozen dumplings with 2 or 3 whole shrimp and then multiple pieces of beef.
I definitely didn't eat 6 dumplings.
Maybe I'm exaggerating. Maybe it was 8 or 10 dumplings. It was a lot of dumplings.
It was like 8 dumplings.
We got 2 everywhere else.
Yeah, but these were small.
Yeah, they were mouthfuls. I have a big mouth. You had to eat them in multiple bites.
No,
they were
I ate them in
2-bite
one bite.
dumplings for you.
I ate them in one bite.
And then the dumpling soup that they came with.
Yeah, so this was, did you describe it? This was a dumpling soup. Based on their, it was maybe like a dumpling wonton soup or something like that.
Pork wontons, char siu, pork, shrimp, crispy shallots, onions, cilantro, and sesame oil served with a wonton soup. And the wonton soup was delicious. I didn't tell you, I talked to Dad on the phone the other day. I told him I'm still thinking about that wonton soup.
Yeah, it just didn't do it for me.
It's just been nice and cold here, and I'm like, man, I want a cup of that wonton soup to just sip on. It was so good.
I'm just not a broth person like that, though. And it was just like a thin broth.
It was,
but it didn't have enough flavor.
It had a ton of flavor. It had so much flavor. It was so good.
I expected like bold ginger, like bright, yummy.
Americanize it, please.
Ginger's not American.
If Burger King made a dumpling, you would love it.
Shut up.
Whitney said there wasn't enough flavor. I would go back there to try other food they had. It was a Vietnamese restaurant. It was crowded on the inside. There were a lot of people eating in there. It looked like a lot of pho, a lot of soup, a lot of like broth-based foods.
I feel like it also might have been different. We had to take it outside, or we had to order it to go and sit outside with Sandy. So they served like the broth in one container and then the dumplings and stuff in another container. And so we couldn't like truly eat it as a soup. We had to like stab a dumpling and eat it, or and then try to sip some broth. I might have enjoyed it more if I could have like eaten it with a spoon and gotten broth in the spoonful with my dumpling.
So I gave it a 7.5. I think I could go as high as giving it an 8.5. I think I might be able to go higher if I just wanted to push it and exaggerate it a little bit more. I thought it was really good. I would go back. I thought it was really good. It made me want more of their food. You only gave it a 6, which I don't think is fair because I thought it was very good. I didn't think there was anything wrong with it.
It's my opinion. I can give it what I want.
So we left there and decided we needed more cookies. So this is where we went to Nate's Oatmeal Cookies. We were driving to our next spot, and I think Whitney looked on the map and said that we were coming up on Nate's Oatmeal Cookies, which we had looked at. We both like oatmeal cookies pretty well. Moonshine Mountain Cookies in Knoxville are a top 10 cookie for both of
I
us.
think they made it in my top 3 bakeries last year, I think.
Yeah, Moonshine Mountain
I
did.
think
So
that
if we
was
see
where we
oatmeal
differed.
cookies, we're going to stop and get oatmeal cookies. I don't know if we need to go into too much detail. I wouldn't recommend anybody go to Nate's.
They
There's
were
no
fine. There was nothing wrong with them, just not the best cookies we've ever had.
no, I don't know. I
They
don't have
didn't
much
stand out.
I don't have much to say about them. They were just okay. Your mileage may vary. Maybe you'll like them. I don't know.
But these dumplings.
So the next dumpling spot that we went to was Blutos, which is a Greek restaurant. And when you walk in, it smells absolutely amazing. It's some of the friendliest people out of this entire trip that I came across. The food looked so good. I want to go back to Blutos and eat, and I don't know how you would feel about going in there
I
because
don't want to go back because it's not going to be as good as these dumplings that we got.
no. So we got these dumplings from Blutos, and if you're ready for this, it was a crispy fried phyllo filled with feta, topped with garlic, honey, everything spice, and mint.
Like fresh mint leaves.
Fresh mint leaves.
And they were phenomenal.
They were. They were the only ones that we got
Yeah,
twice.
we went back
Spoiler
later
alert, we
that
went
night
back and got more.
and they were so good.
Possibly the best dumplings we had the whole time, which I don't even know if you're going about this in a really technical way. These were not dumplings.
I don't know. I don't know what technically makes a dumpling.
I think
It's a Greek
more
dumpling.
I think more of like a steamed or like
Fried.
fried
That's
pot sticker
That's what this was.
type,
It was just in
like
a different
shallow
shape.
pan fried, not like deep fried. These were deep fried. That's not what I think
You're
of.
more of a dumpling professional than me.
But then also, like, if somebody had crab meat rangoons and called it a dumpling, I wouldn't be like, oh, that's a dumpling.
But is an empanada a dumpling?
Oh, heck no. Porque No just went off and did their own thing and then said, we're charging $30
Oh my
for
God, don't
a 1 ounce
exaggerate.
empanada.
Oh my God. So
So
stupid.
you and I both gave Blutos a 10 out of 10.
I'm starting
So
to
much
drool
flavor,
just looking
sweet,
at them.
salty, rich, soft, crunchy, like everything. It was everything that you want something to taste like all at once. It lit your entire palate up. It was so good. I cannot say enough good stuff about how good these dumplings were. And it's unfortunate that this episode is going to come out so much later after Dumpling Week. And it's not like this episode is going to reach anybody, even if we released it like now and it was in time for anybody to listen to it for Dumpling Week.
Dumpling week is over.
Oh, is it?
It was
So it
over
wouldn't
on
have
the
made
15th.
it wouldn't have made it out anyway, but nobody that was going to Dumpling Week would hear this and be like, oh, Jake and Whitney say Blue Toast is so good, we should go to Blue Toast. But Blue Toast was amazing. It was really good. Possibly our favorite. We left there, and then the next one is kind of the opposite,
And
honestly.
we left there and we drove past my.
Oh, you got your picture of your pretty painted building with all your flowers?
They're not flowers, they're full blown trees.
Full blown trees growing off the side of a building.
And plant pots.
Yeah, it was really pretty. I forget where that was. I wish I knew what the name of that building was to tell people to look for it.
Oh, I wonder if maps can show me. Continue.
So we drove over to the west side of Portland on the opposite side of the water and went to Mayrose, and this was a challenge in and of itself. Their hours were wrong on Google. Their hours were wrong. I don't know if their recording on their phone had their hours or not, but we went over there. I parked in a legal parking spot. Technically, I should have been paying for where I was parking, but Whitney was just going to get food, so I'm not paying to park for 5 minutes. So Whitney went to Mayrose. Come to find out, Mayrose wasn't even open when we got there, although we thought they opened at 4. Apparently, they didn't open until 4:30. Whitney got to the door at 4:25, and then
No,
whenever
their hours said they opened at 3.
whatever.
And we got there at like 4:27 and they
And
opened at 4:30.
so at the end of the day, they open at 4:30. Whitney got there a few minutes before, and then she gets inside, and the dining room is not open, but the bar is. And then she asked the host or
The
the
bartender,
bartender if she could place an order for dumplings, and he said, "Let me go ask the chef."
he was like, I don't know if we don't usually do dining, like full dining. We just do kind of like an abbreviated bar menu on, I don't know, a Sunday and Monday or whatever days of the week.
So that
And
was Monday because the Super Bowl was the day before.
he walked back out and he was like, yeah, he said we can do dumplings. He said it must be dumpling week, huh? And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's dumpling week.
So we did that. As Whitney was acquiring the goods, I was busy doing my best to look like I was going to pay for parking because a parking attendant had showed up and written a ticket for the vehicle that was illegally parked in front of us. So I ran over and started making a show of paying at the pay station so that we wouldn't get a ticket. And then Whitney came out with brown butter potato gnocchi with Brussels leaves, braised shredded short rib, and fried sage.
So
And it sounds amazing.
it had so much potential.
It was grossly underseasoned.
If you got a good chunk of meat, it was
Oh,
good.
the meat was amazing. I would, so if they had that meat as an entree, I would get that meat. That meat was
Or
delicious.
if they just doubled the meat on the,
If they would have had more meat, the gnocchi was criminally underseasoned.
but it was everything about it else about it was good. Like it was creamy, it was a good texture.
Yeah.
It was just so disappointing because
But
it
the
was so
gnocchi's
under.
cheap, so there was a ton of gnocchi and they put
Well,
no
that's what it
effort.
is. It was dumplings,
Well,
dumpling week. Of course,
well,
there's going to be a lot of gnocchi.
I mean, yeah, if it's dumpling week, just serve dumplings. It's dumpling week. They don't need anything else. Just steam some dough. That'll satisfy the requirements.
But I
Like,
don't.
I'm not looking for the minimum requirements to be met here. So, I don't know. I said it was very bland. The gnocchi needs help. The meat was very tasty, but there wasn't enough. I gave it a 5. Whitney gave it a 7. She was more impressed than I was. I was much happier with the next place we went to. So we left Mayrose and went over to Pope House.
That was when you tried to get me drunk.
I was when I tried to get you drunk, and you were having no part of it. You wanted nothing to do with
Do
it.
you remember what you were? Oh, you were probably talking about wanting to get bourbon.
Yeah.
I'm talking about
The balls?
the bourbon ball that
Yeah,
you
we got
gave
the bourbon.
me.
I wish we would have gotten 2 of those. I thought those were really good. So Pope House was a potato cappelletti stuffed with brisket burnt ends with a sour cream gravy, button mushroom conserva, charred scallion, and pickled mustard seed. So good. And they described it as like a stroganoff.
Yeah, there was definitely stroganoff in the description.
I thought it was very
It was
good.
called stroganoff.
They were big. I wish they had been slightly smaller so that they were bite sized. They were bite sized for me. They weren't really bite sized for you, but I would have liked to have had it so that I could get everything in one spoonful and kind of gotten it as one
I
thing.
mean, maybe if we were civilized human beings and used a knife and a fork to cut them in
They
half.
served it with a spoon. If you serve it with a spoon, I'm eating it with a spoon. And if you give me a spoon, then I'm assuming you don't want me to cut anything, so I'm taking it as one bite. Challenge accepted.
I,
Yes, please.
I think that I did cut one in half because it.
I think you did, and I judged you.
Yeah, I cut one in half because they served us an odd number. Who serves an odd number of things?
They did serve an odd number, but I thought it was really good. I gave it a higher rating than you, but I think this one you and I were really close on. I gave it an 8.5 and you gave it an 8.
Yeah, it was really good. It was flavorful.
Really good. It needed slightly more seasoning. All of these were under seasoned.
Excuse you, no they weren't.
The sweet ones?
No.
Oh, no, you're right. The Thai restaurant was very good. These were under seasoned. I think they needed to salt the pasta a little bit more or salt the pasta water a little bit more. Just get more salt into the pasta, and I think that would have been amazing. Like lift that flavor a little bit. But when you have so many people that are deathly afraid of salt or just don't like salt, I guess, weirdos. Yeah, so they were erring on the side of caution, which whatever, I appreciate. If you salt something enough that I think it's got enough salt, then most people are going to hate it. So maybe I'm wrong. I'm probably wrong. I am wrong. But they were good. 8.5, 8 for you.
Yeah, they were enjoyable.
And then we got white chocolate coconut bourbon balls. White chocolate coconut bourbon ball because Whitney was not there to party that night. So she just wanted to share one with me and then took a dainty little first bite and was like, "Ooh, Whitney likes that. That's good." And then you took a second bite and you were like, "Ooh, Whitney doesn't like that. It tastes like bourbon."
It tasted like nothing but bourbon the
It was
second
so
bite.
it was so good. I don't like to drink bourbon unless it's got a heavy water back or it has ice served with it and you've allowed the ice to melt, which acts as a water back. Um, so if you dilute the flavor and serve it cold, I quite enjoy a bourbon or a whiskey. I just can't do it neat. Ugh, it hurts me just to think about. But,
Won't drink bourbon with Tim, though.
huh?
I said, won't drink bourbon with Tim, though. Was it bourbon?
I was not there to party that night. Tim, if you listen to this and you want to drink bourbon with me, then you can bring bourbon to the trailer and we can get turnt on my territory. I'm not driving back from there.
We had the van. We could have slept in it.
Oh, that's true.
Oh my
And we
goodness,
had
you
the
ding
dog.
dong.
Yeah, I didn't
Ding
think about
dong.
that. Yeah, I'll get turnt with Tim on some bourbon. So, all right, whatever. We'll do that next time. So Pope House was really good, and then we had another spot that we could walk to. We went over to North 45 for some dessert dumplings, and I think this is the second highest rating dumpling for Whitney. And it was an apple pie. Let me see if I can get a Dutch apple pie wonton served with a vanilla mascarpone topped with a salted caramel sauce and a streusel topping. I don't know if we had streusel. I think he skimped on the streusel.
There's a little bit.
Is there?
It's, uh,
I don't think there was.
there's a powder of some sort, but it looks like it might just be like a no, that's bigger than like a cinnamon.
Whatever. So there may or may not have been streusel. The pictures do not indicate anything conclusively. Very good. Exactly what you would expect from an apple pie dumpling. Expensive.
The most expensive thing that we
These were
got.
the most expensive. And you talk about people serving odd numbers. They served 3.
Yeah.
And then you definitely took
Yeah, I
your
enjoyed them more than
you
you.
took your portion out of the third one
Uh,
before you shared with
I
me.
enjoyed them more than you. You wanted to give them like a 6.
Talking about people that don't share
What
well.
was your original rating for them?
I don't know. I have 9.5 on here. They
Yeah,
were
after I pointed out to you how delicious they were, and you were like, "Oh, maybe I should change it from a 6.5."
I was just butthurt that they were so expensive and they were just, I don't know, apple pie dumplings. I
But
don't
they
know.
were so tasty.
Whatever.
The only thing wrong with them was their price, and they needed more of the mascarpone, whatever,
The vanilla mascarpone.
and more caramel sauce.
Yeah. So, yeah, whatever. Maybe. I don't know. The next one. So Whitney's excited about the next one. We left there and then we drove over to a really good restaurant. We went to Farmhouse Kitchen Thai Cuisine and got their dumpling special, which was a handmade dumpling in a spicy tom yum with chili paste. And it was filled with organic pork, shrimp, Chinese broccoli, lemongrass, kaffir lime, and cilantro. I said it was spicy, meaty, and delicious. Very good. Much more in line with what I would think as far as a traditional dumpling. So I think we really got like 3 really along the line of what traditional dumplings would be, with Bamboo House, Produce Row, and Farmhouse Kitchen were the most identifiable dumpling type dumplings for dumpling week.
Well, then also the birria bao. Bao buns are a dumpling. It was just not a traditional.
Are bao buns a dumpling or are bao buns just bao
Is
buns?
that not a type of dumpling?
I don't know. I'm not very well versed
You're
in this
more well
stuff.
versed than me.
But if you tell me dumplings, like this is what I think. If you tell me we're going to get dumplings, nowhere in my periphery am I thinking bao buns. It doesn't come up. Maybe they share a uncle or a weird second removed cousin. But when I think dumplings, I think way more along the line of Bamboo House, Farmhouse Kitchen, and Produce Row. You and I both gave Farmhouse Kitchen a 10 out of 10.
Bao buns are not technically considered dumplings, although they are similar. The key difference is that bao buns are made with a leavened dough, giving them a fluffier texture, unlike the thinner, non-leavened wrapper of a typical dumpling.
So, Farmhouse Kitchen, anything to say about Farmhouse Kitchen besides the fact that they were spicy, delicious, meaty, and all around amazing?
They were delicious, and I love Thai food, and I want to go back and try more of their food.
Yeah,
And the
definitely.
woman there was having the time of her life.
Dude, so there was a woman sitting by herself. She was my spirit animal. She was sitting by herself with a flaming margarita. I don't know if it was a
No.
margarita. We'll call it a margarita. I don't even know if it was on fire. It was a giant alcoholic drink with a light up LED disco ball in it.
Oh, that's what it was. I was like, there was something special about it, but it wasn't on fire. And then her next drink,
What was her next drink?
it had freaking cotton candy on top.
Oh, did it?
Did you not? I pointed it out to you when you came back from the bathroom. I was like, look at her drink.
I looked at the disco ball.
No, that was the one she already had. Her next one had literally a ball of cotton candy sitting on top of the glass.
I love her even more now. But her food. So picture for our southern natives,
Yes, I know
picture
exactly what you're talking about.
picture the biggest crawfish tray you can imagine and just fill it with all the crap that you can imagine would come from a Thai restaurant.
And crap that you wouldn't think would come from a Thai
There
restaurant.
were whole lobster tails. Not lobster tail. There were at least two whole lobster tails. There had I couldn't even tell you what else was on there. It was just, when I say the biggest crawfish tray you can imagine, I think you think that I think that you're thinking that I'm exaggerating. No,
Your
literally,
standard, it was bigger than like your standard round crawfish plastic tray that everyone in Louisiana
yes,
will know. It was bigger than
it was
that.
bigger than that for sure.
And chock full of food.
I can't do the math. I don't know how to do the math, but if you doubled the surface area of your standard crawfish tray, you might be
It
close.
took up nearly the whole
It
table.
was gigantic, and she was there by herself having the time of her life, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, it was great.
I love it.
And I want to go back to that restaurant.
If we were rich, then I would have paid for her meal just because she was there to show up and completely ball out and eat the best food
And drink.
and drink. I love it. I wish I could have just walked over and been like, "Ma'am, you're amazing. I love you. Can we hang out with you?
I
Because
can't
this looks like a
believe you didn't
blast."
see her cotton candy
No, I
drink.
didn't see it. Oh man, we have so much left to go. This is such a day. So we left Farmhouse Kitchen and decided that we had not had enough. We wanted to continue being gluttonous. We went back to Bluetos and got seconds.
Ate those and
Ate
then went
those, and then where did we go?
ice cream.
Where?
I don't remember,
Cloud City Ice Cream.
which a lot of people say is the best ice cream in Portland.
I would believe it. I thought it was really good. I think out of all of our flavors, everything was good except what, your salted
Oh,
caramel?
I was going to say I got the best flavor.
What, the chocolate salted caramel?
No, the salted caramel.
I think the chocolate salted caramel was the best flavor.
Mm.
I also got the chocolate truffle, which I would not recommend. But as far as flavors go, the chocolate salted caramel, yes. The chocolate truffle, no. It had good truffle mix ins, but the ice cream, I'm going to say this and you might not understand it. You might have to eat it to kind of get an idea, but it was dry. It was
So it was
dry
kind
and,
of crumbly.
it was dry and crumbly. It was not creamy at all. And parts of it were icy. I would not recommend it.
But their sea salt caramel was
The
delicious.
sea salt caramel had probably the best caramel flavor I've ever tasted in an ice cream. So yeah, I could see if you wanted to argue that that was the best, maybe I could see that. But I don't know how easily I would back down from chocolate salted caramel because the chocolate salted caramel was really good.
That's why I just combined the two.
And your regular serving size was literally as big as. Do you have pictures?
Yeah, and I didn't even realize I forgot that we got two different sizes.
I feel cheated because I got a double.
I don't feel cheated.
No, you shouldn't. As usual, you got more than me.
No, I did not get more than you. I got the same amount as you
I
while
really,
ordering a smaller
I
size.
wish I would have noticed so I could have looked at yours and then looked at mine and shown the girl and been like, really? this is a regular and this is a double, and you're going to charge me. If you're going to charge her a regular price for this, you're going to charge me a regular price for this, or you're going to give me another scoop of ice cream.
We should have weighed them in the van.
Yeah, we do have a scale in the van. That's, I don't know. I'm butthurt about that.
I am not butthurt. You got to eat half of my ice cream, so you shouldn't
I got to eat a little bit of your ice cream. I did not get to eat half of
You
your
got
ice
to eat
cream.
like a quarter of my ice cream.
Whatever. So that was the end of the night. That's technically the end of dumpling week. So that was good.
So the next morning we got up and did we go for a walk that morning or no? Oh, that was
we were on the way.
Oh, we needed coffee this day.
Yeah, I
didn't take a picture of coffees.
We needed coffee, but on the way to coffee, we stopped at Voodoo, and I was going to get the banana apple.
I'm still
the banana fritter topped with peanut butter and chocolate chips, and then I got in, and it just didn't look that good. So
Even though everyone says that's the only thing worth getting.
Well, I'm not disappointed at all because I chickened out. I chickened out and didn't get that, and I just got the apple fritter, and I loved the apple fritter.
And it was not a very good apple fritter.
Voodoo Donuts for an apple fritter, I thought it was freaking awesome. Perfect crispy edges and crust, perfect soft, chewy, buttery interior.
Lacking flavor.
Good amount of cinnamon flavor. It could have used more apple, but altogether an amazing fritter for me. Definitely a go-to from now on for me. Whitney didn't like it nearly as much as me. It was really good. I loved it. It was that pull apart like monkey bread type apple fritter that you say is so good.
It just didn't have enough flavor.
I enjoyed it so much. I thought it was really good. Whatever. The next time we're next to a Voodoo, I'll just eat one by myself.
I was looking at pictures and I was like, why did I take this picture? This parking.
Oh, God.
Anyway, so we got our donut and
then we went to case study
and got coffees because we didn't have enough coffee for the entire trip.
Nope, we didn't. We had to have one day where we got coffee.
Which is okay because I like going and getting coffee.
I do too.
But not on a regular basis.
No, I like going to coffee shops. And I think the only mistake we made was I didn't look at the coffee beans beforehand to see the sign that said that if you buy coffee beans, you get a free drip or cold brew. Because I bought a cold brew and they didn't say, hey, I'll give you a cold brew if you buy a bag of beans. Instead, they just sold me the cold brew and didn't try to sell me beans at all, which is funny when you're a roastery. I feel like you would do your best to sell the beans, which is what your business is centered around.
No, it's not.
But, alas.
And I got 4 shots of espresso in my coffee, and it was just a wee bit too much.
And you got a quad shot. You said you wanted 3, but she said, I can do an extra 2 for the same price as 1.
I said, I want extra, and she said 3. I said, an extra shot, and she said 3 or 4 shots is the same amount. Which do you want? Or the same price. Which do you want? And I went with 4.
Yeah, you did.
Hindsight's 2020.
I think 3 is your sweet spot. I got the bourbon, the caramel bourbon flavor in my cold brew with just an easy splash of oat milk, and mine was oh so delicious. Their bourbon caramel flavor is so good. I liked it a lot. I would go back. I think we would both go back, especially now knowing that I can buy beans and get a free coffee. That just makes it that much better. Their beans weren't cheap. I mentioned this to you either today or yesterday. I've had a revelation. I did the math. I'm still not happy about it, but I will spend more money on beans now that I know that even if we spend $27, which hurts me to say, $27 on a 12-ounce bag of coffee is still only $1.60 per cup of coffee for you and me to make coffee, which I can live with.
Can live with it.
Especially if being as bougie as we are and being like, I want coffee. We're going to go get coffee from a coffee shop. It's like $18, $16 to $18 if you and I go get coffees.
It's not.
After tax?
It's like...
And flavorings and extra shots and everything
like
else?
Maybe 14. 14 or 15.
Versus...
27.
Versus... $3.20 if I make it here,
okay.
Which you're not going to get a latte here, but you can mix it with your chocolate milk and be just as fine.
So delicious.
It's just, I don't know. I I'd be much happier if I knew who was making the money. Like if I'm just making the entrepreneur rich because I'm buying $27 bags of coffee, that doesn't really do it for me. If the employees are being paid well and are being offered benefits and a major portion of their benefits are being paid for and the farmers are being paid and all that kind of stuff, yes, I will pay a king's ransom for the product. But
Anyways,
yeah, sorry. We said no more soapboxes. Alas, here we are.
then we went across the river.
Yeah, this was this is when we went to
We
Vancouver.
finally had a sunny day, so we went across the river because I've heard over the last couple of years that the city of Vancouver has done a lot, and this is Vancouver, Washington, not Vancouver Island, British Columbia. I'm not
Canada.
going to say that out loud.
Say Canada.
Canada.
The 51st state.
Oh, stop. I'm annoyed. I can't remember where I was going now. So I've heard that the city of Vancouver, Washington has done a lot to revamp their riverfront area, waterfront area downtown. So I wanted to go check it out while we were there. And we parked and sat in the car or van and drank our coffees. Is that where we ate our? No, we ate. Did we? Is that where we ate our apple fritter, or had we
Yeah.
already eaten it?
We ate it right there. We ate it at the Vancouver Waterfront Park and Trail.
And then we didn't walk for very long because we were headed home this day. So
and we
walked.
did like 3/4 of a mile.
Yeah, we walked for maybe 20 minutes, just kind of checking out the area. There's a bunch of little restaurants and stuff down there.
I didn't even note the distance. We did not walk far at all.
No, we didn't. I mean, we didn't really walk. We just kind of wandered for 20 minutes.
Yeah, we walked down far enough to see the tap house, like that big, nice, obviously like high dollar investment firm that.
And we also got to see the
bridge.
Yeah, so the Columbia River separates Vancouver and Portland, and I-5 crosses the river in going from city to city. And lo and behold, it's a drawbridge.
Kind of a drawbridge, a type of drawbridge.
It's a drawbridge, and the drawbridge had to be raised for a boat to go through while we were walking around. So we got to see that, which was really cool because it's not, we're used to drawbridges that are like a
lift at each side so it opens in the center upward.
Or at one side. I've seen those
or
too.
At one, yeah, or
but
at one side.
This one just like raised straight up like an elevator.
Yeah.
But it was cool, and it was just wild to me that a freaking interstate gets shut down for a drawbridge to raise up for a boat to go through.
Yeah.
So we watched that and then got on the road and headed back, and we were going to take 2 days to go back instead of just rushing back in one day. And we decided that we love the coast, so we drove out to the coast because we knew the weather would be a little bit warmer there too. And so we headed out. How did we go out?
How? Yeah. I don't remember which highway. I could look. I don't remember exactly how we went.
We came out at
we came Lincoln out City. In Lincoln City. So I guess we went out essentially on Highway 18 to Highway 20. Highway 18. Call it Highway 18. But we went west and came out in Lincoln City on 101.
So we went to Lincoln City.
But before we got to Lincoln City, you're getting ahead. You're completely skipping donuts and quesadilla.
Oh, I forgot about those.
Obviously, because you're trying to take us to burgers before we even had donuts or quesadilla.
So there's a place not quite in Portland. I don't know what the address is, but it's out in the direction of Beaverton. And if you look at it on like Google Maps, it just calls it Donut Day. But the full name of it is Every Day is Donut Day.
Yeah, I guess it's Beaverton.
So I wanted to go try these donuts because they have good ratings.
The address is Beaverton.
Okay.
Donut Day. Every day is Donut Day in Beery area. PDX Aloha.
So this is where we got the Dutch apple fritter.
This is where we got the Dutch apple fritter that I don't know if you liked it as much as I did.
So this Dutch apple fritter was not glazed in a traditional glaze. It was unglazed, but then it had a maple frosting on top.
Yes.
With a streusel or crumble of some sort. and it was really
It
good.
was really
It
good.
was just not, again, not my preferred style. It was more like a solid piece of dough as
Yes.
opposed to like the pull apart chunky fritter.
But as far as apple flavor goes, it had one of the best apple flavors for an apple fritter that we've ever had.
I think the only thing that would have made it better is if they glazed it and then did the toppings,
I don't know.
because it would
Maybe
add a
I
little bit
like
of
sweet, so of
moisture.
course I would have liked it.
I like the moisture that the glaze gives because it gets in all the little nooks and crannies.
I thought I wasn't going to like this one. I wanted to get it just because it was different than anything else we normally get.
Well, it was also the only fritter that they had. They had, I think, a raspberry, but we didn't want the
They had a
raspberry. They were
raspberry.
out of regular apple
I
fritters.
was really happy with this one.
I would definitely go back there and try more stuff. We got a maple bar,
And we also got the chocolate cake donut holes.
which were good.
I would get them again.
And what do we say about the maple bar?
Very, very soft donut, sweet maple glaze, very good. Would get again.
I think I might have actually liked that more than the.
Then the donut holes.
Yeah, I think so.
I thought the donut
No,
holes.
I was than the fritter.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just
Yeah,
because
you did
that's
like the maple bar, but you're a sucker for maple
I'm a
bars. I
sucker
think we
for.
both are.
But I just liked. I thought the dough was really good on it.
I thought the donut holes were really good. And you don't get cake donut holes anywhere. And it
Mm-mm.
was chocolate cake donut holes. And I only got 6, and I wish I would have gotten a dozen. They were so good. And then in the same parking lot was Beery Area, which I already had added, not this location, but another location in Portland proper, because they have such good reviews for their birria. So we got one case of birria to split for lunch. It didn't come with consomme, which is really weird. You had to pay an extra $3 or $4 for consomme, which I don't know.
And the smallest consomme you can get is 8 ounces, which is just dumb.
Yeah,
Because who
because
needs
it's
8 ounces of consomme for one?
well, if it was thick and you could like scoop it on, then maybe like you could be super gluttonous and like cake it on there. But it's soup, so it doesn't stick. So you just dip your quesadilla in. And I'm not complaining that you have all this consomme because I drink the consomme everywhere we go. So I would have drank it, but I don't understand why one, it's standard practice everywhere you go that when you get quesadilla, you get consomme. But then you go to this place, whatever, you want me to get another soapbox? So we did that. It was juicy.
It was a really good.
It was really good.
It was a quesadilla as opposed to birria tacos.
Yes. So I say quesadilla. Quesadilla can be either like taco sized quesadilla, and it's
This was
like
like quesadilla
quesadilla
style.
tacos, and this was like a full blown quesadilla. Whenever you think of like a quesadilla from a restaurant, this was along those lines. Maybe not as big as the biggest quesadillas that you get at some restaurants, but it was big. It was big enough for us to share
Yeah,
happily. I mean,
and
it
it was.
wasn't lunch. We knew we were going to get more food later, and we had just eaten donuts, so
But it was really good. It was really cheesy, really flavorful.
would
I
get
really
again.
enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad I had the other one saved in town. Like, I thought it was really good. So, back to where we were a minute ago, we took Highway 18 out west. We made it to Highway 101. We made it to Lincoln City. We went to Highway 101 Burger after we went to the Glass Studio. We did go to the Glass Studio and walked around Lincoln City Glass Studio and enjoyed that. It's an
Which
amazing glass
they have
studio.
some amazing artists.
It might be my favorite glass studio we've ever been to.
I think
I feel
so.
like they've got so much more skill there. Blowing glass is amazing in and of itself, and before we had been there, I never would have thought that you could really step it up much further. And then we went to Volta, and it's the same people, it's
Mhm.
just a different location across the street. But then we went over to the Lincoln City Glass Studio, and it's a completely different level of glass blowing than anything I've ever seen.
They do some really impressive. Like I'm just thinking about all the things that I want from
There's
there.
so much stuff in there.
I
Like
want the flour
we could spend tens of thousands of dollars in there
easily.
getting the stuff, just stuff to put around your house and be like, "Oh, look at my glass sculpture." I don't know. Just stuff.
They do really cool stuff.
That's why your kids aren't allowed at our house.
It's definitely worth a visit if you're in Lincoln City, for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure. If you go to Lincoln City, you absolutely should. You obviously don't have to. If you don't want to, then don't. I'm sure you're busy doing other super fun things.
After you go walk on the beach and hunt for a glass float,
Or agates.
You should meander on over to the glass center.
Yeah.
So we did that, which was cool. And we'll go back, I think,
yeah,
even though we're not going to get anything.
we might.
Maybe someday. Maybe when we're rich.
Maybe when we win the lottery.
And then we went to Highway 101 Burger.
Went and got burgers.
In Lincoln City, because they have 3 locations.
They do.
Sorry,
is that including the food truck?
Yeah, assuming the food truck is associated with them too, because it's not on their website anywhere. I literally can't find anything about them.
Whatever. So we went and got burgers. Highway 101 Burger is an absolute must go to. We've talked about them before.
There are other sticks and bricks, bricks and sticks.
Depot.
Brick and mortar.
Yeah.
Is in Depot Bay, and we had gone to that one,
which we talked about in I think our best of episode. So we really enjoy them. We went to Whitney found out that through Oregon State Parks, because I have a disability rating through the VA for my time in service, we have access to an Oregon State Parks pass that gives us the ability to stay at Oregon State Parks for free.
For 10 nights a month.
For 10 nights a month.
And it gets you, or takes care of your day use fees as well.
So it was amazing. And there's no registration, no booking fee.
Yeah, I thought there was supposed to be, but then when I booked it online, there was nothing.
So that's amazing. So it's literally, it's a free site. So we stayed at Beverly Beach State Park Campground for the night and drank our coffee there the next morning in a really nice campground.
Yeah.
With the exception of not being able to open our window without smoking out the van. You gonna roll around? You gonna scratch? You having fun? You good? Yeah. Okay, back to this. But it's good. I think it's really nice having the pass and being able to go to the state campgrounds and having a place to stay.
I'm excited to use it more for sure.
I like that you mentioned that we could just bring electricity hookups with us and just get a full hookup site or an electric hookup site and just run the AC if we need to run the AC. Since at a campground, it doesn't count for camping if you don't have a campfire. So we did that. And then headed south. I think that, this was the day we were headed home. We headed south. We stopped at Chubby Little Mermaid because we were passing Chubby Little Mermaid.
So you gotta stop and see the Chubby Little Mermaid.
If Chubby Little Mermaid is open, you stop at Chubby Little Mermaid.
But there were no whales that day.
There were no whales.
No whale donuts because they messed up their dough.
Unfortunately, they had no whales, but we got a really good bear claw.
Their bear claw was delicious, and I still just can't believe you don't like this cinnamon knot thing as much as I did. The cinnamon roll twist. It was so good.
Yeah, no, it didn't do it for me. The bear claw was really good. I don't need the cinnamon roll twist again.
I'm going to say it. The bear claw was better than Dodo.
Huh, okay.
I thought it was really good. Their filling was really good. Granted, Dodo's was really good too. I would have to have them side by side.
I
take it back.
I thought Dodo's was really good also. We left there, continued south. Whitney is still determined to find a porcelain or glass mushroom in Yachats. So we stopped in Yachats and tried 2 trails to find a mushroom, see if we could find mushrooms that had been so far unclaimed on Visit Yachats' Instagram page.
Even though they dropped 5 on Saturdays, and this was it Tuesday or Wednesday?
It was on a
Wednesday.
Tuesday?
Wednesday.
Tuesday?
Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday. So, did that. Didn't find anything.
But got to walk around in Yachats, which is awesome.
We got some movement in.
And we love Yachats.
I'll take it. I mean, the first trail we went on was really pretty.
Was the second one not? Along the coast?
I guess it was. I thought the first one was prettier.
Through the woods?
Yeah.
More than the coast, where we talked to the people?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I thought the first one was really pretty.
And steeper than expected.
I don't know. It felt good to get out there and do something. Both the hikes were really nice. I was planning on spending the whole day in Yachats and just getting home at like 11 p.m. I was going to find you a mushroom.
There's no mushrooms to be found.
So we gave up. We tried 2 trails. We didn't find anything. Whitney decided to give up. Continued south and stopped in Florence to try our luck at getting a apple fritter, which we knew they didn't have because we already called and asked them to hold one, and he said he was out. So I guess we weren't really trying our luck. But we decided to stop and get stuff anyway, which was kind of a mistake. We were kind of just gluttonous for the sake of being gluttonous. We got a chocolate bar, which we don't need the chocolate bar again. The maple bar is better. Their chocolate's just not that good. The donut's really, really good, but the chocolate's just not that good. And then we got buttermilk donut holes, and I just don't think buttermilk donuts are for me.
They're definitely not.
There's nothing wrong with them, and I could see people liking them, and these kind of grew on me. By the time I got to like my second to last and my last one, I was like, these are pretty good. I think I kind of figured out what the flavors were and like what I thought of them, but I wouldn't have to have them again. I'm sure other people think they're amazing. There's a reason they make them because people buy them. But the really good stuff was whenever we stopped in, what city was that? Was that
North Bend?
North Bend / Coos Bay. So we stopped at Nobe. Yeah, Nobe, Nobe. North Bend Tap House. And they have a food truck court with 1, 2, 3, at least 4 food trucks. And Whitney and I wanted Mexican food. We wanted some tacos. And Amiga's Tacos was there. So we got a asada supreme burrito. And we also got a queso taco, which again, I say queso taco, they called it a queso taco, but it was almost a quesadilla. I don't know. We got 2. We each got 1, didn't we? Yeah, because we shared the burrito. The burrito was really good, very big burrito. We split it. Plenty for us to share for lunch. Normal burrito, like if you get a burrito, then you kind of expect people don't mix things in a burrito whenever you get a burrito. So you get bites that are just mostly rice or mostly meat or mostly guacamole if you get guacamole, or mostly beans. It's normally from bite to bite to bite you get a little bit of something, but you don't get a little bit of everything. It's not a homogenous mixture. They don't put it in a bowl, they don't mix it up and then put it in a tortilla and then roll it up. So it was that, but it was very good. Queso taco was very good, very cheesy. I thought there was a fair amount of meat.
We'd go back.
We got 1 consomme. I think she was going to offer us 2, but we didn't need to.
She said something about if you order them separately, then you get 2 consommes, but if you order them together, you only get 1.
Yeah, whatever. So we only got 1 consomme, but again, you can't like pile the consomme on quesadilla anyway. It's soup.
It's not a dip.
No, it's not a dip at all. It's soup. So
it's broth.
Like, yeah, it's braising liquid. So when you're done with it, or when you're done with your quesadilla, you just drink the consomme. Nobe's really good. I forget how many beers they had on draft. They had a really good draft selection, and then they have a decent to-go selection. I'm sure it rotates because they don't always have the same stuff, but he had a decent enough to-go selection that you can drink on site, and then if you get 4 packs to go, you get a 10% discount. So they do $5 cans, singles, for on-site consumption, which is a good price for a 16-ounce can, considering drafts can range anywhere from $6 to $8 normally. So you get a can for $5, and they had plenty good can selections. And then if you get a 4-pack, it's $16. $18. $18.
I was going to say 10% discount, so 50% or 50 cents off each.
20 down to 18. So, I mean, 18 is kind of steep depending on what kind of 4-pack you get. We got an extra pale ale, which has some cost associated with it for hops and everything else. I mean, it's steep if you're thinking just like it's not that high of ABV, so there's not that much grain cost associated with it. But I'm doing beer math right now, which a lot of people don't care about. So $18 for a 4-pack is fair for the most part. I don't know. We probably could have gone a Safeway. If Safeway, this was a limited edition small batch collaboration that we got, so I don't even know where to go to get it. So I don't know. We got it for 18, and I tipped him $2 because he was super friendly. So we got a 4-pack for $20, which is expensive now that I think about it. But whatever. Nobe's awesome. Go to Nobe. Go to Amiga's Tacos.
They have indoor and outdoor seating that's dog friendly.
Indoor
which was nice.
And outdoor, dog friendly. The music was not loud at all.
Mm-mm.
So
And
it's
I
an
think the outdoor seating was covered too. I
the outdoor
think.
seating was covered. I didn't
Maybe.
see heaters. No, it
Maybe.
was definitely covered.
Okay.
Um, so that's the end of that. And we're at an hour and 45 minutes on this podcast, but I had other questions that I wanted to ask you at the end of this. So if we can I ask you a few questions?
Sure.
What did you think of Portland now that we spent a little more time in Portland? We'd been there before, but this was the most time at one time we'd spent in Portland. So what did you think of
It's
Portland?
not though, because we spent like 2 weeks there the first time we went because we liked it so much we kept staying.
Yeah, but we did other stuff. I don't feel like we were in Portland all that much. I feel like we got more exploring out of Portland this time than we did last time, or maybe I just remember this time better because this is more recent.
Recency bias.
Yeah,
I like Portland. It's got a lot to offer. There's a lot of food, there's a lot of drink. Now that we know those two outdoor parks, they're super cool. And then I really like that you can go like 30 minutes, 45 minutes east, and you can explore the Columbia River Gorge. And there's a bunch of cool waterfalls, which we did a lot of that the last time we were there.
yeah,
I think Portland's really cool. I mean, obviously, it's got some of the drawbacks that all big cities have, such as traffic,
homelessness,
homelessness, people,
crime.
crime, but it's not the worst city we've been to. I enjoy it.
No, it's not. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. Did you enjoy your dumpling week?
Yeah, it's food. Of course I did.
So it was worth it?
Yeah. Oh, and I forgot to mention that we found out. Puppy's wondering why I'm getting so excited and riled up over here. While I was talking to the bartender at Maypole, May whatever,
Mayfair?
he told me that there's
Hold one.
also a nacho week and a burger week in Portland. So now we have those to look forward to. So we'll definitely be back.
Oh. So you would do it again?
Yeah.
It was a 3-part question. It just took me a while to get there.
Yeah. I'd go back to Portland.
Top 3 dumplings.
Thai food.
Thai food.
Farmhouse kitchen.
Farmhouse kitchen.
Blue toes.
Blue toast, which was the feta.
I think it's funny how we say it different.
The phyllo feta dumpling.
And apple pie.
And the apple pie from North 45. I think is what that was. Yeah, North 45. I've got all mine. I'm not even in my notes. Yeah, North 45 was the Dutch apple pie.
What were your 3?
Oh, man. So, blue toast for sure, because we went multiple times. Man, blue toast. 3 is tough. 3 is really tough. Blue toast. I want to say Farmhouse Kitchen, and then I really, man, I don't. Probably. I can't even remember because there are so many that I'm thinking about right now.
I might have to change mine.
What are you going to change yours to?
XLB.
XLB. You did really. We both really liked
that
XLB.
birria bao was so good.
I don't know. I really don't know. I can't name 3.
You can't ask me and then not answer.
Yeah, but I can't narrow it down.
You have to.
Loyal Legion. Loyal Legion.
Blue toes.
Farmhouse and Blue toast. It's probably not accurate. There were a bunch.
We went to like 11 or 12 places.
We went to a lot.
I think it was like 11. I don't know.
And then last question. Which restaurants do you want to go back to? Not necessarily for dumpling week, but which restaurants did the dumplings pique your interest that you want to go back to and try more of their stuff?
Farmhouse Kitchen for sure.
Yeah, both of us agree on Farmhouse Kitchen.
I mean, I guess Blue toes.
Blue toast.
I've never really eaten Greek food, so I don't know if I really like Greek food.
You've never had pita and...
I mean, that's not a meal.
What am I thinking of?
Hummus.
Hummus.
That's a snack. That's not a meal.
But
I don't know if I like their
They have a dish that's beef and hummus.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know if I think that sounds good.
And they do kebabs. They have a limited
But
menu.
I don't know if I like their the flavor, because I do think that I've had is chicken shawarma.
Greek? Yeah, but they didn't have chicken shawarma. That's Greek, Lebanese.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, but
Greek.
I don't know if it's more Lebanese than it is Greek. They didn't have shawarma.
But I just don't know how I feel about it. But I would go back and try them. Am I allowed to say Porcano?
Yeah, I would say Porcano. We've
Well,
already
we've
had
already been
Porcano,
there.
but we know we would go back. Farmhouse Kitchen is probably the one that piques my interest the
For
most.
sure, but I
I want to go
love
back.
Thai food.
I want to go back to Bamboo House.
I would go back there for you to try it.
I think they have a lot of good food at Bamboo House.
And I would want to eat it inside so that we could eat it as it's meant to be served.
Yeah.
For sure.
So that was it. That was all the questions I had. I just wanted to ask a few questions at the end to kind of get an idea about whether or not you enjoyed it and you thought it was worth it and whether or not you would do it again.
Of course I enjoyed
So
it.
if we
It's
can make
food.
it back for,
Nacho week.
I feel like Nacho Week would be over the top.
I feel like we would need to recruit Colin and Carrie for Nacho Week so that we could split orders of nachos.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
Because, like, if they're like full blown orders of nachos, but I love nachos.
Yeah, Nacho Week could be interesting. All right, an hour and 49 minutes.
Sorry, people.
Except for our best of episode. This was a big episode. We could have split this into two. When we finished with the dumplings, I looked at the time and I was like, man, we've got another solid 45 minutes to an hour. But we could have split it into two. But oh well. I feel like this is pretty good. It's a big episode. It was fun. I enjoyed it. Thank you all for hanging out for almost 2 hours.
See y'all next time.
That's it?
Yep.
Say bye.
Bye.
Bye.